Hi everybody, this is Beachcricket, and I'm inside my beautiful bus, Shuttle Babe. Anyway, I wanted to do a little story today, and it's about my grandfather, one of my grandfathers. And I think you'll enjoy it. He was really special to me. I liked his fieriness. I admired him so much. He was a stinker. But you know what? There was so much that I related to with him, and so I'm going to share a little bit about him with you today. But first, I'm going to share a couple of little things that are really great hacks for living this nomadic lifestyle, because we have minimal space and it's important to utilize it in every opportunity that you can. And I found this. Now, this just fits on a little ledge anywhere in your van, wherever you can find a little place, a door, whatever. And it holds like the Walmart trash bags, any kind of bag, from any place that you shop. And I bought these because they were something that I thought I could use in case I didn't have a bag, and they're working really well. All it does is just slip here. The handles of any of the shopping bags just slips right on the edge of this, and voila, you have a place to put your trash so easily. And a lot of us like to get rid of our trash quickly, so we don't want a big huge bag. So this is nice. This is really good, this size here. But anyway, it's about a little bit bigger than like a Walmart bag. But anyway, you can use the Walmart bags, and that's what I've been using. And it's so nice because I don't like having trash around for very long. I don't like the smell. I don't like holding trash. And, you know how it is when you're out here in the nomadic lifestyle. You're trying to get rid of the trash as fast as you can. And I have been amazed how fast trash accumulates within just like 3 days. So, I'm now mobile at a job and working, so I can eliminate the trash quickly. But this still is a great little setup here so that you can, have your trash easily accessible to get rid of. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. And another hack that I really have been enjoying, it's a pressure bar, and I've got it hooked on that, and then on the other side it's pressured on the other side, but it just automatically, let me show you. Now this is for like when you want to, in your truck bed or someplace where you want to utilize a bar to hold your cargo in place. That's why it has this ratchet design here. And so I thought, wow, that would be really good for utilizing a nice hanger for our clothes in our vans or our rigs, whatever. Because I'll tell you what, I do not like not being easily accessible to my clothes. I have lots of storage space underneath my benches, but I don't like having to get under there all the time and doing that. So I bought this ratchet bar to hold back here in the back of my rig to utilize my clothes so that I can get to them easy. And you can tell, man, it's just wonderful. I love it. The organization is so much easier, and it's like home sweet home. Got my clothes right at my fingertips. So I hope you enjoyed those tips, because every little kind of clever thing that I can figure out, I try to share them with you so that you can utilize your nomadic lifestyle as easy as possible, because organization is really key to living this lifestyle. It really is. Anyway, getting back to my grandfather. I was introduced to my grandfather, like many of us, very early in my life. And his name was Orest. And that is a very unusual name. And that was puzzling to me as a child. I was like, that's so strange, Orest. I've never heard of that. Anyway, he was a coal miner in West Virginia. He also was a farmer, and he was amazing with animals. And he had 200 acres in West Virginia that was a farm. He had a kind of two-story home there, but it wasn't like, you know, when you think of two-story, you think of, you know, pretty nice home, right? Well, it was a pretty nice home. It's just that it was different. It was different in a cool way too. It was kind of, I don't know how to say this. Let me just describe it. That would be the best way to do it. He had a two-story house, and when you walked in, it was a living room. It had a porch first, and then you walked in and there was a living room, and it had a big old potbelly stove to the right in the corner tucked in there. And it was just amazing because he used that all the time for heat and for cooking and stuff. So it was fun, and that was the first time I saw coal used. So that was really a new experience for me. It was interesting. The walls were, they had newspaper, and, you know, it was like wood and newspaper, and it was just very unusual because, you know, I lived in a house that was brand new in Florida, and it had everything, you know, all the bells and whistles. I mean, this was in the early 60s, and it had a garbage disposal. We had a bath and a half. We had, you know, we had all kinds of nice things in there. It was really, really, really nice. So I was never, you know, I had never seen anything like this. So it was really enlightening, and it was fun for me because it was a new adventure, and, you know, I was just amazed by it. I loved it. He had the next room, well, to the left there were two bedrooms, and that's where they were like little cubbies where it was really drafty and cold in there, and the newspaper walls were also in there as well. But anyway, the next room apart from the living room was the kitchen. Now the kitchen was interesting to me because it had a pump, like a hand pump that you pump the water by the sink, and it had a cast iron big cooking, you know, stove. I'd never seen anything like that, and it was just a different world. My grandfather got milk from the cows, and he had a, you know, to the left of the kitchen there was this little kind of like porch patio thing, and he had a creamer in there, a separator, I mean, and he would you know, do that for the cream and the butter and stuff. And so I got to learn what that was all about. That was fascinating. But he brought so much enlightenment to me as far as life. On the farm that he had every kind of creature you could imagine. It was so amazing. Let's see. He started off, he had cows. He had sheep. He had chickens and dogs and goats. What else did he have? Oh my gosh. He just had everything. Anything you can imagine. It was like living in a zoo, and it was so much fun to experience all the different things that he had there. It was great. He also showed us his land. I'll never forget that day. One day especially, he took us all on a walk. Now, my grandfather was ornery, okay? Just backtrack a little bit here. My grandfather was really, really ornery. He would scare people, and it's like his house was down in the valley, so his property was up, you know, to get there was, it was on top of a hill. So anybody that wanted to come visit him or see him, you were first up on top of a hill and you had to go down into the valley to where his house was. So he could always spot anybody up there on top of the hill trying to come to his property. And for some reason, I don't know, the church people would always try to come talk to him. And he did not like that at all. I mean, he would shoot his shotgun up in the air and scare them and yell, you know, and his voice would carry because the valley, you know, it echoed and it would resonate all the way up there, so they knew. But he would do that, and it was kind of scary, crazy as a child, you know, seeing my grandfather do that kind of stuff. But anyway, it was cool too, because he was like really interesting. But anyway, so he would do that kind of stuff, and he would also love to play with the bullwhip. Oh my gosh, he had several, and he would snap them and scare us. You know, if we acted, you know, when we were visiting there, if we acted up, he kind of put the fear of God in us with those bullwhips. We were really kind of scared. We didn't know what to think of our grandfather. Our grandfather was cool at, you know, different times, and then other times he was scary. But anyway, I thought he was magical, you know, he was just so interesting. But I respected the orneriness in him too, like, oh beware. But anyway, he would do some amazing things when we came to visit with him. The one time, well, there were many times that he took us down on his property and showed us around, but this one particular time was very, very special. He took us all down and he wanted to explain to us what was on his land, what kind of plants were around, what you could do with them, and you know, just that kind of sort of thing. And it was so cool. I was just like, wow. Like, he showed us some plants that were called ramps, and you could make a salad and eat them. And so he had us try it and taste it. They weren't bad, you know. And he showed us different things about his property. There were streams on it, and he took us down and showed us those, where they were at. One was really cool because it kind of went through a kind of a cave area. And so in the wintertime when we visited, it would freeze over and you could slide in it through it. And it was cool. So he showed us that. And he had gas rights on there on his land too. So he made a little money off of that. He was a coal miner and a farmer. So he eventually got black lung, and he got benefits from that. But it was really sad because, you know, that's a pretty hard thing to have to go through and die from. It's pretty rough. But anyway, his characteristics of everything spunky about him was what really made me want to go visit my grandfather all the time. His mother was full Cherokee, so that's why he, I think, had a love for the land and animals. He was like a horse whisperer with horses. Amazing. He showed them. He had plenty of horses, and he raced with them. He just loved doing that kind of stuff. But I saw him so many times just, I mean, he was kind of fierce and kind of cruel sometimes, I thought, the way he handled the horses, but they respected him, and they did what he told them to do. But then there was another side to him that was connecting and loving toward the animals. So, wow. But that was fun to witness, and he was really good with them. But he was a stinker on that too. His initiation with his grandchildren was, and he got me on this one, y'all. He got me on a couple things I'll tell you about. But from talking to my cousins, my cousin Tracy told me that this happened also with their family. We got a good chuckle, she and I, over that. But when I visited one time, he put me and my two other brothers at the time that were in the family, put us on horses. And I got put on Lightning. And you can imagine with a name like that, okay? Well, I think I don't even know how old I was at that time. I might have been, you know, I was around 8, 9. Yeah, somewhere around there, I think. 7, 8, 9, I don't know. But anyway, Lightning was fine. The other two horses were fine. We all sauntered up that hill that I told you about to get up to the top. And then we turned around to come back. And whoa! Whoa, Nelly. Lightning is lightning. And she came barreling down that whole stretch of road to the house. My parents were just, you could see the fear in their eyes. They were freaking out. I was freaking out. I was just this little kid. And I was bareback. So, I mean, I'm holding on to the mane. I am like holding on for life. And anyway, my mom and dad were furious at him for doing that. Because, I mean, he stepped over right in front of Lightning and made Lightning stop. And, you know, the horse did. And I'm like shaking, getting off of that thing. But anyway, it was exciting. And it was also kind of puzzling. Like, why would my grandfather put me on a horse that he knew would do that? But that was his kind of chuckle. That was his demeanor of his spirit. I don't know, but he did it to all of his his grandchildren. For what I understand. Anyway, that was really amazing. My parents were livid. Another thing he did that my mom was not happy about. He was pouring some clear liquid. I was in the kitchen just talking with him. He was cooking possum, y'all. Ugh, that stuff smells horrible. Horrible. Anyway, he was cooking it. And I asked him, I smelled it, and it, you know, it came in there, and I'm like, Grandpa, what is that? That smells horrible. And he's like, girl, that's possum. That's some good eating. And all this. And I'm like, ooh, a possum? And he goes, yeah. And he opened up the pot to let me see, and oh, no thanks. Anyway, he was pouring some liquid into a mason jar. And by the way, his last name is Mason. And it was clear, and I said, Grandpa, what's that? And he goes, you want to know, girl? You want to know what this is? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, here. And he hands it to me. And he said, taste it. And so I'm like, okay. So I take a big old swallow. It looks like water, right? You know, I take a big old swallow of this. It's moonshine, y'all. My mom walks in the kitchen as I'm taking this big gulp, and she knows. She goes, what are you doing to her? And, you know, by that time, I have fire going down my throat and steam going down my ears. It was crazy. Anyway, I was like, whoa. So, okay, that big swallow of moonshine was my first taste of liquor. I was 9 at the time. And he made it. He had a couple of stills on his property, And he did have those, he would say the revenuers, they would come out there and they'd bash up his stills. In fact, on one of those walks, he showed us a still that they bashed up. And I was like, wow, that's so crazy. My grandfather makes moonshine. But, you know, anyway, I really was a little tipsy after that experience. And again, my parents weren't too happy about that. But, you know, as a child, you're being introduced to things and you're being challenged and you're being shown things by, you know, a family member that is both interesting and scary at the same time, but it's magical. You know, you've been pushed past your limits of what you know and experienced something. And so I really loved all the scary, funny, amusing moments I had with my grandfather. In fact, I went to a solstice. It was a summer solstice meeting in Memphis with my friend Kevin, who I love so much. He's my best bud. Anyway, he and I and some other friends, we all decided to go to this solstice. And before we were going to go through the maze, and we did. But before that, there was a ceremony, and it was really wonderful because it was a remembering your heritage ceremony of the people that you came from. And you circled around in a circle around a fire, and you would step forward when it became your turn, and you would honor a past family member that you really, really appreciated that came into your life. And I honored him that night and told a couple of stories for the group, and they loved it. But it was such a humbling, wonderful experience to share that with them, and like I'm sharing with you a little bit of my grandfather. You know, people, your environment, people that you have in your family, friends, everybody that you run into, they all become an integral part of who you become. And so that's why I wanted to share that with y'all today. That my grandpap, yeah, he was called Pat Pat by everybody, and it was so fantastic because on one side he was my mom's dad. On one side I had a country grandparent, and on the other side I had city grandparents. And so, you know, it was neat because I had two realms to discover as I was molding my little life to figure out who I was. So that was really, really special. So that's all I got to say. Just wanted to share a little bit of that with you. It's, I don't know. It just came to me today, and I thought, hey, I think I'll share that about Grandpa. Yeah. GrandPap Orest Mason. I'll show you a picture of him here at the end. He was amazing. Little cantankerous, little stinker, but yeah, he was my pap. All right, wake up and live, have your adventures, enjoy your life, because hey, it's yours. And Nomad Life does rock. Look, I got a shirt. There we go. On Amazon. Isn't it cool? I love it. All right, you guys. Beachcricket out. We'll see you in the next video. Bye. In memory of my grandfather, I bought some shine. Yeah, this is some peach shine. His was straight corn liquor kind of shine, you know. It kind of burns as you go down. This is not quite like that. Kind of fancied up kind of version, but it's still good. Grandpa, thanks for the first drink. All right, you guys. Wake up and live. Have your adventures.